Okay, so last time we read, we found out that the ghost was helping Mr. Charles, right? And it was like kind of a cool thing where we were learning more about Ghost, learning more about Mr. Charles. Mr. Charles really seems to kind of care for Ghost. He was helping him out. And then he took stuff back into the stock room and he started having flashbacks to when he and his mom hid there after his dad shot at them. Okay. And then he like freaked out and ran out of the store. So that's where we're picking up. Chapter 6. World record for the longest run after the most runaways in a single day. I ran to my next stop, which was track, but not only because I was bugging about being trapped in a stockroom, stockroom, and trust me, I was bugging, but also because that creepy clock reminded me that I was also late for practice. I ran through the streets until I finally made it to the park, where everyone was already warming up. So nice of you to finally join us, Mr. Cranshaw, Coach said as I threw my bag down. I wanted to tell him that I'd basically been trapped in a teleportation thingy that zapped me back to the scariest moment of my life, but I didn't because no one would believe me. So I just sat down on the bench, kicked my half shoes off, thankfully. Everybody else was focused on stretching and not on my feet, and rolled my pant legs up. Sorry, I said, unzipping my bag. But Coach had already turned his attention back to the other runners. I looked to my left and right and then over my shoulder, then quickly scanned the other side of the track to make sure there were no extra guests dressed in undersized, navy blue uniforms with badges and handcuffs checking out practice. Once I knew the place was clear of cops, I pulled the silver shoes out and slipped them on my feet, lacing them up tight. Then I threw the beat up sneakers in the bag and hit the track. So, today is Thursday, Coach said as I sat down to join in on the much needed stretching. After spending the day with fire in my legs, stretching made so much more sense now. It took maybe 2 seconds for Patty to notice my shoes. She smiled and slapped Sonny on the arm to get his attention. Then he saw them and gave me a thumbs up. So corny. I looked over at Lou. He was staring at them and fixed his mouth in the way people do when they're thinking, not bad. And that was good enough for me. Coach continued. And Mikey, tell him. Now Coach caught a glimpse of the diamonds on my feet and got stuck. He looked surprised and confused. It was the same expression he had when I told him to call me Ghost. Um, he caught himself. Mikey, tell the newbies what we do on Thursdays. Mikey said in his usual grunty way, long run. That's right, long run, Coach said. This is about conditioning, not speed, and everybody has to do it. Let me tell you, when he said long run, there were a few things I hadn't thought about. The first was that I hadn't had lunch because of the whole running out of school thing, and I was starving and wouldn't be able to eat until after practice. And the second was just how much I needed food to give me energy, because what Coach meant by a long run was 1,000,000 miles, especially since I had just run about 1,000,000 miles from school to the store and the store to the track. Then a crazy thought hit me. Was he punishing me for stealing even though he didn't know? Or did he? Nah, he couldn't. He didn't. That was just a coincidence, a bad coincidence. Coach didn't tell us how far we would be running or anything. All he said was, follow Wit. Where you going? I asked as Coach started walking toward his car, but he didn't say nothing back. That's when Aaron told me what was going on. He's getting in his chase mobile, or as he calls it, the motivation mobile, Aaron said, patting me on the shoulder. You'll see. He ran in place for a few seconds. I copied him and did a few high kicks. I felt like a gump doing it, but all that went out the window when Aaron said, nice shoes, man. I was going to tell him that I called them the silver bullets, but decided that probably would have been too much. Plus, there was no more time for talk. Coach was honking his horn, which I guessed was the signal for the run to begin. Coach Witt took off, and we all ran behind her off the track and out onto the sidewalk as if we were some kind of running mob of obstacle course contestants, dodging people in car doors, ducking under store awnings, and jumping over random bicycles. The pace wasn't anything too crazy, a little more than a jog, but definitely nowhere close to a sprint. And honestly, I was surprised at how I kept up for at least 10 minutes before starting to drop back. Had to be the shoes. Sonny was up front with some other distance runners, like Lynn, Britt Bratt, whose real name was Brittany, and JJ. Patty was in the middle, keeping pace with Deja and Crystal Speed. She seemed to be doing okay too. In the back were the sprinters, which made sense. The new shoes were definitely helping me out, but there was only so much they could do. At about 25 minutes, which was longer than I had ever run in my life, I eventually fell behind the other sprinters, putting me in last place. And that's when I learned what the motivation mobile was. First, it was just a honk. Doop, one short toot. I turned around and there was Coach in his cab, his emergency blinkers on. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He was trailing us. He was driving behind us. Then came the long honk. Brrr. Then the megaphone. Coach rolled down the window and started screaming at us. Well, really just me through it. Kick it up, Ghost! Kick it up! Woo! He screeched, his voice loud and cracky. I won't lie. Knowing that he was on my heels like that, watching every step I took, definitely put the pressure on. Made me feel like I was being chased, which is always the easiest way to keep running. I knew that. A couple hours ago, I had been running from invisible cops. And there was that time I got chased by a dog hanging out at the basketball court, hoping someone would pick me to run. This older dude that everybody calls Sicko was there playing. He's one of those dudes with a crazy eye who never goes anywhere without his dog. He had the fathead mutt tied to the leg of one of the benches. And when I went to go pet it, stupid, I know, it got all to barking all crazy, jumping at me, snapping his mouth. I backed away, but it kept lunging until finally the leash popped. It just popped. That dog chased me around the court and off the court, and I didn't stop running until I got home. That might have been the fastest I had ever run. Well, the second fastest. Anyway, I won't lie. I never caught up to everybody else, even with Coach pretty much yelling at me through that stupid megaphone the whole time. He was leaning on the horn like a crazy person. Woo, woo, pick it up, Ghost, pick it up. Everybody on the street was looking at me, some totally confused, and some actually cheering me on. Let's go, let's go. I didn't come close to finishing with everybody else, but I didn't quit. I never stopped running. As everybody except for Sonny lay down on the track trying to catch their breath, Coach had this cocky grin on his face as he came from his car, like he knew he had just worked us to death. Coach Witt, who shined today? He asked, jingling his keys. Coach Witt stood with her hands on her head, her face and the parts between her braids glistening with sweat. I gotta give it to Sonny, Coach. The kid stuck with me the whole time. Sonny lit up. He wasn't even tired, like running 800 miles or however many miles we ran was no big deal to him. And I'm sure almost everybody else felt like, I don't know, like we had become slime. Good job, Sonny, Coach said, giving him a high five. I told you vets to look out for him, didn't I? Mikey and Aaron and Britt Bratt and JJ and pretty much all the vets groaned. But I could tell they were impressed by lanky legs Sonny. Patty jumped up and gave him a 5 as well. Yo, you like an alien, she said. Yeah, man, you got legs, Lou followed. Then he turned around to me. You too, Ghost. Them new shoes ain't giving you no new speed, but you ain't quit, so yeah. Thanks, I said. You too. I don't know why I said you too. It's just a reflex. It didn't even really make sense in this case, but that's what came out. Okay. You all can hug and all that tomorrow at the newbie dinner. What's that? Patty asked. It's tradition. Every year I take the newbies out for Chinese food on the first Friday of the season. It's like a bonding thing, Coach explained, and then looking from me to Lou to Patty to Sonny, one by one, he added, What, y'all don't like Chinese food? Of course, we quickly answered, Nah, Chinese is good. Definitely. Sounds good to me. I'm cool with it. Coach, with the key ring now on his middle finger, spun the keys like cowboys do with their guns on the old movies Mr. Charles was always watching. Okay, then, Coach said. Now give me 2 cool down laps and get off my track. Okay, for today's response, it's an open ended thing. There's not a specific question, except for I'd just like to know, what are you thinking right now about this story? Why are you thinking about that? Kind of a lot of stuff has happened. Ghost has joined a track team. Coach is kind of like this like mentor thing to him. He's been suspended. He stole shoes, but it seems like things like with the kids on the track team are good. He's going to have this dinner. So I'm just wondering, where do you think the story's going? What are you expecting? What are you wondering? What are you thinking? That's what today's response is, just to get ideas. And then what I really want you to do, I want to do this more. I would like you to go back and read everyone else's ideas, okay? This is our chance to kind of like talk about this story. All right, thank you.